Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to Raptors Flex Plus. I am your host, Kyle, and today we got the first official Raptors Flex Committee episode. I got my boys with me in the building. So, yo, I'm going to start bringing them in one at a time. First, we have a multi sport enthusiast. He knows hockey, he knows football, but today he's here to talk basketball. It's my man, Phil. What up?
I appreciate you, pal. I appreciate
Don't know, bro. Appreciate you for coming through.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Dope. So let's start bringing in the next man's. Hey, yo, this guy right here, he could probably bench press a truck. Maybe, not too sure, but it's my boy from Time. It's Trey.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
What
it.
up? What up? Welcome for coming through. Appreciate you. All right, let's keep it rolling. And we got friend of the show, my brother from another. He's an artist. He's a podcaster. He's his / everything. Y'all know who he is already. He been on here, but it's my man, Kanai.
Yes, sir.
Yo, I meant to do the crowd applause after each person, but I kind of messed that up on the production, yo. So my bad.
Collective. It's collective.
But yo, I appreciate you guys for coming through. On the real, man, it means the world to me to have people that I can call upon for support to get this thing popping, man. So yo, these are the panelists today for the first Raptors Flex Committee episode. Is there anything that y'all want to say first before we start getting this thing popping?
I respect you for everything you're doing with this show, man. I'm a long-time listener. Pleasure to be on. Keep doing your thing, bro.
Exactly.
Salute. Appreciate all of you, man.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
yo. So let's not waste any more time, man. I hope y'all watched the game last night, man, because I mean, damn, that wasn't the greatest performance by the Raptors. Let's be honest, but we did win the game by 15. But let's be real too. Charlotte, they're missing mad players. They're missing 6 guys last night, including LaMelo Ball with an ankle. Miles Bridges, kind of government wouldn't let him in because he has some priors. It's just how it's going for him. Gordon Hayward didn't play. Cody Martin, amongst others. And the Raptors really kind of struggled out the gate in this one. The Hornets were coming off of a 53-point loss to Philadelphia 76ers. So you know they're going to come into this one trying to avenge that dreadful performance. And they showed up in the first quarter, and it was looking like for Raptors fans, it was going to be a tough night. But we're able to pull it off in the fourth quarter. And today, I'm not going to be giving my thoughts on it. I want to hear what the panelists have to think about it. So I want to start with Trey. Give me your insights on how things went last night for the Raptors.
It was a good dub. It is what it is. I mean, you take your win however you can get it, right? But at the end of the day, what were they missing? Like 6 players? 4 starters?
Mad guys.
4 starters at least? Come on, fam. My thing with the Raptors is they are what they are. You're not really gonna... I expected them to beat Charlotte last night, but if they also lost by 10 at home, I wouldn't have been shocked. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of at that point in the season for me. So it's nothing. This isn't a great. It's just another dub on the schedule. To be honest, it's nothing special you can take away from this. Obviously, we like the way Scotty's playing. He's putting up decent numbers. But for everybody else, it kind of is just like, once again, if they lost this game, would we have really been surprised at this point?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
I don't think so.
Phil, what you got on this, man?
You do what you do, right? You control what you can control. You got a team that you're supposed to beat. You go out and you beat them. They were hitting from the line yesterday too, so that's a nice positive, right? You can take that. And at the end of the day, Darko is getting these guys in at halftime, and he's saying something. He's adjusting something where they're coming out and they're having not bad third and fourth quarters. So you just got to figure out a way to get them ready right off the bat. Because if they get it ready right off the bat, then they just wash this team to the side. They made this way more of a game than it had to be. But yeah, like Scotty's energy in the fourth quarter, Pascal's energy in the fourth quarter. I love that. Lack of energy from the bench. That seems to be like a reoccurring theme. But honestly, they win games they're supposed to win. You got to start doing that eventually. This is one that they had to win. They did it. So hey, we feel a lot better this morning than we could have. That's for sure.
I agree, especially with Denver coming up and then Philadelphia coming up.
Yeah, you need
Probably.
those. You need those momentum wins, right? This could be a momentum win. You know, you do what you're supposed to do. It gets you some confidence. We'll see.
I hope so, my G. Kanai, what you got on this game, bro?
We suck, guy. We suck. Not so well. Like, I don't. Yeah, bro. We suck, man. There's no two ways about it. What is this? To the last 8? 6 of the last 8, we lost to Atlanta, which we should have beat. We lost to Charlotte in there, and a whole other slew of games. I don't know. My thing is not what he's saying to the team at halftime. My biggest problem with Darko, to a point that Phil had brought up, is the things that he says after the game. There's been a couple of wins here where he walks in and he's like, "Oh, where's the fucking party?" And I'm just like, man, like we're not good. We're not good enough to be celebrating, a sub 500 record or going out for free dinners when we win 3 in a row. Like we're not there yet, and I think we need to do a little bit of a culture reset. I don't know if we have the right attitude, and I think that's what the problem is. That's why we're coming out super fucking slow.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, I'm gonna shoot the man's a little bit of bail last night. I just felt like Charlotte coming off the 53-point loss, like that's even just unheard of. The team losing by 53. That's why I was joking with y'all yesterday. Like, how would you feel if we beat Charlotte by 50 last night? But like, obviously, that wasn't even close to happening. At the beginning of the game, it kind of looked like we were gonna be the ones that were gonna get blown out. That we didn't show up. But I expect the NBA team, right? These are all professional athletes. They're the best of the best, whether they're shitty teams in the NBA or not, right? Like these guys are the best of the best. And when you lose by 53, you're going to come out the next night and you're going to try to do much better of a performance. So I'm not so mad the first quarter because I thought that the game didn't get too far away from us. But again, like the Raptors should handle this team, especially with them missing so many players, you know? And LaMelo Ball is supposed to be their best player. Even if Gordon Hayward was in the lineup and Miles Bridges and whatnot, they're still missing their best player. So, like, I'm shooting them a little bit of bail, but they need to be better than this, man. They literally need to be better than this. This game didn't do anything for us until the fourth quarter, where, to Phil's point, Scotty Barnes started going off, doing his thing,
But
as he should be.
That's happening too much, though, right? Like we're depending way too much on Scotty.
That's
Like,
exactly.
It might be to the point where we're stunting his development.
Thank you. If Scotty Barnes is your best player, it's a problem, guys. Like, come on. Like, there's no way. There's no two ways about it. Like, he's a really good player and he's getting his numbers and it looks really good on the stat sheet and stuff. But once again, if that's your best player, you cannot. How far is the ceiling as this? Where's this team going? You know what I'm saying? Look at Charlotte leaving, even on paper, fully 100% healthy. They're to me, they're beating the Raptors if they have everybody. Gunning on all cylinders and everything. They're a better team than the Raptors, in my honest opinion. 100% healthy, that is. I just don't see who the guys are to surround. Like Scotty Barnes could be a Giannis type player when we're looking at numbers and production wise, but he cannot do it by himself. And Raptors, until Raptors get another dog of a point guard and somebody to actually like a real two-way player on the wing that's going to play defense and can get a bucket whenever he wants, however he wants. This team's going to be laterally moving for the next however many years. There's going to be nothing to look forward to or cheer for. We're not going to get lottery picks. We're not going to get championships. We're going to sit in the middle as we were for the last however long and get the 14th freaking pick and you know what I mean, and keep moving sideways for however long. That's all I see what's happening right now. It's really upsetting, to be honest.
So you think that this is more of just like the roster just doesn't have any talent in order to compete? Because
Not
I
enough.
kind of disagree with you on that. Like Pascal Siakam has been an All-NBA player twice. He's been an All-Star twice. He is an NBA championship. that game one in the finals against the Warriors, Pascal set the whole tone for the series in that game. You know, I think he went like almost damn near a triple double. So like I know that's looking back like
Well,
revisionist history, but I mean we have pieces on this team. It can't be that bad.
We have pieces, but we
here's the thing.
don't have hymns. We don't have hymns,
We
bro.
don't have him.
Straight up, like that's just the point. We do not have a hymn, and until that day, like you have men like OG and Gary Trent who feel like playing when they want to play. You know what I mean? And it's not enough. We got pieces for days. We've always had pieces, but we just don't have anybody. We need a dog.
I
Like even Pirtle's a nice center, but like man, it's just these guys are all just pieces.
It is.
Tonight, what you got?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
okay. I disagree with like kind of like one. Scotty is the best player on the team. He's better than Pascal. He's got a better basketball IQ, better feel for the game. Is he as far along and as experienced as Pascal is? No. So I think the difference between Pascal and Scotty is Pascal knows where to get spots and how to execute properly in an offense just off of maturity and seeing defenses and knowing what defenses are going to do. But in actual fact, Scotty is a better player than Pascal is right now. Like he's a better 3-point shooter. He's better finisher around the basket. His numbers are way up. He's a better passer. And even though they might average the same numbers sometimes, I think the only reason that that's happening is because Scotty has to share the ball with Pascal. Do I think there will be a learning curve if we were to give the keys to Scotty right now? Absolutely. He would have to, we're probably going to lose a lot more than we're going to win because we're giving this young kid the keys. He's barely played. He's still turnover prone. I still see him make bad decisions. Sometimes he doesn't show up ready. But I do think that some of that is because he gets to defer. He knows he can defer to Pascal every night. And he's going to defer to Pascal every night. We've watched it. He came out hot as shit, right, out of the gate. And then Pascal started to have better and better games. And as Pascal had better games, you see Scotty sacrificing. I think the biggest problem that I have with the team right now, and I'm going to say it, I think is coaching and culture. I think that's the biggest problem I have. And then second, I don't know if Pascal has enough dog in him to be the leader because we're just deferring to him off the amount that he gets paid.
Guys,
And
Dennis,
he's not actually that guy. Sorry, go ahead.
Dennis Schroeder is our point guard, fam.
Yeah,
Fine.
I'm not saying we would be like fourth, bro. I'm just saying we would be like, probably hunting for sixth if we had a better fucking system, a little bit more. I think if Nick Nurse had stayed, I think we'd probably be looking at sixth. I'll be honest right now.
I have a problem with the culture thing because as fans, we don't really know what the culture is, right? We don't see the interpersonal relationships that are going to make that locker room, right? Like we don't understand what the realm of influence Darko has on them, right? All we see is the production on the court, which is the bigger problem. And Scotty is the better player than Pascal. But when it comes down to it, when Pascal wants to play bully ball, when he wants to get to the rim, when he wants to put his back to the bucket, he's an elite player. He's got lots of ways to score. I don't see an issue with the Pascal-Scotty conundrum. I do see an issue with how they're meshing on the court and how night to night we're trying to see who's going to be the man now, who's going to be the secondary guy. I think that's the bigger issue. I don't think it's a talent thing. It's never been a talent thing with Pascal. But yeah, he's not him, and that's been the debate since before and after Kawhi left. That's always been the problem in Toronto. So
he had that shield of Lowry and shield of Kawhi at the time that could cover that for him, but he doesn't have that anymore. And now it's showing that when he's put in the spotlight like that, he's a good player. His numbers show that he has to be. I mean, he's the best. He's been our all-star, but is that by default? You know what I'm saying? Like,
does that matter though?
I don't care if he's if he wasn't an all-star. I don't care if he was still the guy that was leading the team to playoff wins. I wouldn't care about
that's fair.
but he's not either.
So let me ask you all a
What
question,
Trey
right?
says. What
Because
Trey says.
sorry, go ahead, Kanai. Go ahead.
Your mic kind of.
Well,
Yeah.
I was just saying, like, yeah, my mic might be a little delayed, boys. Sorry. What Trey says about Pascal, like, like, is he intending to be an all star or is it just by default? Absolutely matters because him will be an all star by intent. That's what we're missing. We don't have intent when we come out. We don't have intent when we go into like, and it takes something like until the second quarter, late second quarter or third quarter, when we're already down by 20, when we're getting our asses kicked. Like
Smacked in
that's not the signs of a good team. This is a championship organization at this point. Before we won that championship, we were the most winningest team for those 5 years before we won that championship, right?
Right.
So the culture, absolutely. If we don't know what the culture is, but I can tell you this much, Phil, it's not winning. Winning is not the culture right now. Developing has suddenly become the culture, and we become comfortable with that. Scotty Barnes is absolutely capable of being him. I just think that we're getting a little soft around the reins right now about what we expect. Yes, it's a rebuild year. Okay, no problem. I would have no problem with you guys losing. It's the way they're losing,
So
Yeah.
actually,
right? You're not even competing against.
you know,
They've got quality wins. They do. They got quality wins. They got Hawks. They got Suns. They got Pacers. They got quality wins. They're putting wins together. It's just consistently inconsistent in doing so.
it,
You can't deny the fact that they beat those. They lost the Hawks in the back end of that back-to-back game, which is fair.
to
But they
me,
have
this
quality wins.
is just a wash. That's just how I look at it. To be honest, it's good. Like as a Raptor, it just hurts to see that they're not a championship team, and they're barely like a playoff team in the East right now. And it's really disheartening to look at that. It's like, what are you guys doing? You know what I'm saying? And me, I'm just a regular guy who watches basketball, and I know going into the season that Dennis Schroeder is your point guard, fam. Like, I'm sorry, he's a decent player, but like, that's a sixth man at this point in the league. You know
I
what I
think
mean?
I think they were trying my baseline assessment. They were trying to emulate a Fred VanVleet, a guy that can play D and a guy that can shoot the three.
He's
They're not
he's
going to do it.
he's world
He's
better.
not. Yeah,
World's
world's better. I'm saying they tried to emulate that. They tried to get a bargain basket, Fred VanVleet, and it hasn't worked out.
Are we those guys now at this time? Are we guys for a bargain when we just want a chip? Like, is
Yes.
we are?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
And I think Toronto has kind of been that way for a while in terms of free agency signings, right? Like generally our bread and butter has been to draft guys, develop them, find undrafted guys, develop them,
we've always been
make trades, right?
always,
And you build your roster that way. We're not really a free agent destination.
but once that chip came, I think something should have shifted to the point where we've always been good at development, and then sending them off to be better at other guys' teams. But I digress. But we is from when we won the chip and we had our young guys get a taste of that. It should have been nothing but trying to bring in stronger character guys who are going to elevate the team, not these sideways movements, not guys on bargain, not guys like it feels like it's just been like three steps back every year since, and it's just weird to see that when we tried so hard to build a championship team. Is it just for 1 year? Like, I don't understand why we're at the point where they're at right now, to be honest. I don't.
So let me ask you guys a question, right? And maybe this is in the same vein as you asking that question, Trey. This Raptors team was supposed to hang their hat on the defensive end of the floor, right? And the offense, they talked about all these new concepts that the coach wants to implement for this team. And we understand that that's going to take some time in order to see the fruits of that labor, right? But the defense has literally gone from like a top 8, top 5 type defense at the beginning of the year to a graphic that I saw last night that in the last 15 games, the Raptors are 23rd in defensive efficiency. So like we're having all these conversations about roster building, whether players can fit together. Mostly that conversation is on the offensive end. But are you guys telling me that with the roster that we have right now, that this defense shouldn't be better in the last 15 games? Because I think it's been absolute trash. Thoughts, please.
What's their identity? Anybody? Offensively, defensively, who are the Raptors? Who are they?
Better question. What was their identity defensively for the last X amount of years?
Hard nosed. At least hard.
Hard-nosed. Hard-nosed. Who's the most hard-nosed defender, point guard defender in the NBA, or one of the most hard-nosed defenders? And he's getting paid like one right now. And it's not in Toronto. And it's in Houston. That man
think so?
plays the most minutes in the NBA. And of all the players in the NBA that play a minimum of 30 minutes a game, only one player has a better defensive rating than Fred VanVleet does, and that's Rudy Gobert.
This year?
Yeah, this year. He's second in defensive rating among players playing 30 minutes or more.
Yeah, he led point blocks.
That's a stat.
That man $40 million a year. They didn't give that man $40 million a year on the offensive end. I mean, yeah, he's got range.
Who's this?
He leads those boys.
Fred.
That was our he was our culture.
Yeah, Fred.
He was our heartbeat,
Right?
right?
Good job. I mean, I said this 2 years ago when everybody wanted to get rid of Fred for something, and this is why they held on to him. I said that's their extension of the coach on the floor. You can't take that. You can't duplicate that, right? You can't. There's a guy that's going to play, and I think a lot of people got, disheartened by the way that he was shooting, the volume that he was shooting at, and how many shots he was taking. And I think we see now why he was doing it, because nobody will get you going. There would be the comeback kids last year too. He was the guy that got them going. He was the guy that got them started. Having an engine is important, right? Especially when the rest of the guys seem to not be self-starters. And that's very clear right now. We don't have a single self-starter on the team.
Who's their leader? Who's their leader? Who's
It's supposed to be. It's Pascal. It's Pascal.
That's not good.
Is it Pascal though? Like, is it?
Who? That's what I mean.
It is Pascal.
If we're looking at the energy on the court, it's got to be Scotty Barnes. If we're just looking at pure energy, pure hustle, clear production, it's got to be
the keys,
right?
We're literally describing the problem.
Give him the keys. That's what I'm saying.
So let me ask y'all a question, okay? I think that's a really good segue into the next topic, right? So trade rumors are popping up left, right, and center for guys like Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Gary Trent Jr. There's a whole, I guess, dilemma in terms of whether we should give Scotty Barnes the keys, which I believe Trey just mentioned, or it may have been Phil. I'm not too sure. But either way, my question stands at, is there a world in which all of these three players, Gary Trent Jr., Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, are gone from the Raptors by trade deadline? Or is there a world in which, one or two of those players may remain? Because obviously you guys have pointed out that there are needs that we have on this team and missing pieces. So I'm going to open up the floor. I'm going to start with Kanai on this one. What are your thoughts on that?
If they're halfway competent, barring some sort of miracle with this team, then there's not a world where those three players exist on the same team. One of them gets moved at this point. I think you have to look at it like you've lost the locker room, and you need to inject some new energy into there. You need to bring in somebody who's willing to buy in. You know what I mean? And yeah, I don't think I think Pascal gets shipped if you're asking who, but I don't think a world exists where all three of them are together after the trade deadline at all. No.
All right, Trey, what you got?
What is Gary Trent's value? What is he getting you in the trade market? You know what I mean? Right at this moment in time, he's a throw-in at this point.
Whoa.
Am I? No. Oh,
I don't think he's a throw-in. Now, I agree with you that his value is not where it once was. But like a throw-in to me is like Otto Porter Jr. You know what I'm saying? Just a contract that you're trying to get off the freaking books.
Nobody's looking for.
I call him a coupon.
He's no. I don't even want to disrespect the man because he's an NBA player, but he's a ham sandwich at this point when it comes to a trade value. He comes off the bench and still isn't even a sixth man. You understand? On the Raptors. What are we talking about?
Being a sixth man on the Raptors is not it's nobody.
Okay.
It's not the same. You don't even have Dennis Schroeder out there leading your sixth.
There's If Schroeder is your starting point guard and you can't come off the bench and still be consistent, there's a problem there. Your value to me is very low, very low. Okay, let me use words like very low. I want to use.
He needs a guy that wants to play 18, 20 minutes, wants to hit some threes, might play a little bit of defense, might get out in transition. Then yeah, sure, he's got some trade value.
Right, that's the player he should be.
That's what, but that as that player, he's got trade value. He doesn't have he doesn't have value right now to the Raptors, right?
Right.
I would agree with that, but there's a team out there where he's going to have some trade value as that player.
Sure. To everybody, he's gold to somebody at any point, right? Yeah. Like somebody's going to see.
Lakers.
Okay, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
If Gary Trent Jr. lands on the Miami Heat and we have to play them in the playoffs, are you happy? Because he's going off for like.
But listen,
he's going off for like 30 on us.
Bro, you send my guy,
he's not a cool one.
He's gonna come back and drop 25 on us.
Guy, if Gary Trent Jr. is on a team like Miami, where you can have guys that you have that style of play where they have multiple shooters, he doesn't have to worry. Remember what Gary Trent Jr. was last year? He was cooking people last year, like 2 years ago. Don't forget that. The guy didn't get worse. His role just changed.
I just asked.
Like he's not getting shots where he was getting no freedom.
I just asked for consistency. That's all. In whatever role he is in, just show consistency. That's all. I don't expect him. I don't even ask for him. Right? I'm an OG Anunoby fan, but this guy goes ghost every other game. It doesn't make sense.
We got to keep OG.
What plays do they run for him?
It's hard. That's the problem with the.
Do we have to keep him?
That can go and get a bucket at any point in time.
It's because they don't have a true facilitator. They don't have a true point guard facilitator who's going to be able to bring these strengths out in guys like OG. We cannot trade OG Anunoby. There's no world where Pascal's a Raptor next year. I don't think. But OG Anunoby's got to be a Raptor next year because look, for a few reasons. 1 sec. Number one is like. Who are you gonna where's the replacement gonna come from, right? Like, are we seriously ready to just tank it right in? Because who's gonna produce the way OG does 3D? Nobody. We got nobody to replace him, right? Number two, which might even be a bigger selling point, is he's a recruitment chip. He's him and Scotty, theoretically, only the two only recruitment chips we got. If we're gonna try to get some free agents in. Like Kyle's saying, we got to keep OG and we got to keep Scotty. So when we show them the roster, say, hey, look, we got OG, we got Scotty, we got a 3-and-D guy, we got an elite, like a soon-to-be elite player. We just need a point guard and we need a bench mob.
That's a lot to ask, bro. I mean,
that's not even the baseline. We're not even talking about him yet because Scotty's not a him yet.
Shooters,
that's the foundation that we're gonna we gotta get that foundation set, and we can get some of those pieces from a Pascal trade. I'm sure.
You guys there?
Yeah, you went dark there.
What happened? Yeah.
So that's my biggest thing with the OG trade talk. Who's going to replace his productivity as a 3-and-D, elite 3-and-D guy? And who are we gonna?
Do you think OG is in our championship window? Do you think by the time we're good enough to win a championship that OG will be relevant?
He better be because he's 26 and Scotty's 23. So if we want to win a championship,
so you think 2-3 years we're 2-3 years we're ready for a championship? You think
3 to 5
because his championship window is probably the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I'm saying that. I'm saying 3 to 5. Yeah.
So
I don't think so.
He's gonna have to be.
I'm not sure what our championship window is at this point. Like, to be honest, I really can't even see that far into the future.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? But like, for me personally, I just feel like OG Anunoby might be probably our best trade piece on this team right now. I think his value in the league is sky high just based on what he can do, which is he can hit the three at a high clip. Somehow this guy became the best three-point shooter on the Raptors, respectfully for him, because he came a long way, obviously, working on his game. But the defense, being able to guard 1 through 5, a lot of teams don't have that. And I think like that's a luxury to have the ultimate 3 and D. And then even now and then, you see him being able to create for himself, which I'm not big on him doing that, but every now and then he can do it. And he's not going to command the type of contract that a Pascal Siakam would command. So I think he's probably our best trade piece in terms of value that most teams would want in the NBA. And this team needs to start back up and rebuild around Scotty Barnes. That is literally what needs to happen. And everybody knows, like, I'm a big Pascal fan. I was like one of the early Pascal fans. Like, I was happy to cop his jersey early. Like, I got the Pascal, right? And he's like, yeah, okay, cool. But like, he developed, he worked on his game, but now his contract demands are just going to be out of this world. So now it cuts off some of the other teams that may trade for him because are they willing to pay him that type of bread, right? Versus an OG Anunoby that can return you some really good draft pieces, maybe some younger players, and teams are more inclined to pick up still a large contract, but a smaller contract. So again, I don't know if I could look at this 3-5 years window, but we need to start building around Scotty Barnes. And I think OG Anunoby gives us the best option to return some of those assets that we've been missing for a while, such as draft picks and younger players that could possibly fill out the bench. We just don't got that right now. The Spurs own our pick if it's top outside the top 6. What do y'all think about that?
Oh, man, I agree. I'm just like, I'm ready for the both of them to go. I don't really see any world where that keeping either one of them benefits us. I think like unless we were to land a free agent, which I don't think is happening, and if we're banking on that, then I have to seriously question what management is doing because it's been difficult. Development has been our most successful path um, for the last decade now, right? It's what we've done well. So I think like you get rid of Pascal. There's Pascal Keegan Murray talks, which I like because I know Keegan Murray's not coming all on his own. There's also Pascal Chris Paul talks. And here's the thing about Chris Paul. I think what Chris Paul does is give you the key to a 3 to 5 year championship window because I think you get a guy like Chris Paul, it's like having a culture and a leader. Once again, I'll circle back to that. It'll probably be my stick all the way through this thing. But yeah, I think you start developing around Scotty. I agree with that, to be honest. I don't think there's a way outside of that. I think you have to start with developing around Scotty. I think you give him the keys.
I hope we get something better than Chris Paul for Siakam. I truly hope that I believe that there's a team out
there. It was like Chris Paul, Jonathan Kuminga, and maybe a gang of picks and stuff like that. And I'm like, I like how we're going young there. I like Chris Paul with a young team. So It wouldn't just be Chris Paul. Yeah.
I'd feel bad for Chris Paul though, because like literally he's on that Warriors team trying to get a championship. His first championship. I think he's like 19 years in the league or something like that. Yeah, it'd be nice to have a player of that caliber here in Toronto, but like if the Warriors are doing anything, which we'll get to a little bit later because I have a topic on that. If the Warriors are doing anything and they're doing it right by Chris Paul, then they're probably going to trade him to like a team that could be a contender. And if he is traded to Toronto just to make some money work, don't be surprised if you see a buyout, fam. Some Alonzo Mourning stuff with Vince Carter. That's dangerous. That's dangerous stuff, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's more. I think there's more fundamental, like foundational players that we can acquire in a Pascal Siakam trade. I know the Hawks are probably going to be interested. I heard the Thunder might be interested. I heard the Pacers might be interested. There's players on those rosters. It might be a harder sell, right, because it's an expiring contract. But those teams are, I mean, it's not a realm of possibility that they could sign Pascal next season, especially OKC. You look at OKC's contracts. They got Shea till 2026 is big money, but then they got Dort till 2026, and they got Holmgren till 2025, Jay Will till 2025, and then Giddey till 2024 on all super friendly contracts. So why not try to get Pascal into a Thunder jersey, get somebody back? foundation, a younger player who can coincide with Scotty right off the bat. Like instead of, I mean, I gotta err with Kyle on this. Like the 3 to 5 window I gave was just like me being super positive. Like I can't even start to discuss the Raps even being in the second round yet. Never mind being in the finals. I think Chris Paul.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like it'd be nice to see him in a Raps jersey. It'd be cool if he actually played for the Raps. He might sell some jerseys. But in terms of what this team is going to try to do to get out of this purgatory limbo that they've been in, I don't think a Chris Paul trade, even if it's Kuminga and some picks, I'm not even sure I would be interested in that. I'd be more interested in like a DeAndre Hunter deal from the Hawks or from the Pacers. Like if we could get Jarris Wallace somehow, be proactive, try to get a young player and use our chip. Pascal Siakam's got it. Like I agree, I respect Kyle. I say yeah, definitely OG's a great trade pick, but Pascal. He's an all NBA player. He's got a big reputation in this league as a guy that can score and will score. And in the right role as a 2 or as a 2-man or 3-man, he's going to be there and he's got value. It's just selling that to a team and getting a piece back that we can lock in with Scotty. That would be that's got to be Masai's pry one. Like it has to be. And Bobby's pry one. It's got to be.
Just to be clear, I'm not saying that OG Anunoby is a better player than Pascal Siakam. What I'm saying is that I think more teams are inclined to trade for OG Anunoby than a Pascal Siakam, just based on all of the factors that we just talked about, right?
I agree.
Trey,
I would agree with that.
Give me some more on this, yo.
I don't even want to see either guy go, technically, to be honest. I think if you look at a team like Milwaukee, you can kind of build your team sort of using that model. Not to obviously say that these guys are comparable or the same player, but Scotty being your Giannis type, Pascal being your middle type, your mid-range guy who can extend, sometimes hit some threes and has mid-range game, and then you need your Drew Holiday. You know what I'm saying? Go find that guy who can play both ends of the floor and be your general at the same time. Then you need to surround them with a bunch of freaking shooters that can just be lights out. And then I think that that's kind of a recipe for more of a championship squad than, you know what I'm saying? Hurdle can be your Brook type player where he's getting your boards, he's blocking, he's playing defense, and he can score every night, right? If you build like that Milwaukee type model, I think they have some of the players already in to do so. It's just a bunch of shooters, and you need that floor general, that dog, man. So really, I don't want to see Pascal really go. It's just the inconsistency between all of these guys is killing me. They're all talented players. It just looks so bad that it looks like they don't belong together right now. It just, I guess, you know what I mean? And so what are we going to think? Okay, trade this guy. But I think that some of the once again, they have the pieces, they just don't have the hymns. That's all. They need one or two pieces they got.
So I think we're all saying that there probably is a less likely world where all 3 of those players will still be here at the trade deadline. Obviously, Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster have some work ahead of them, and they're going to have to figure out how to keep shaping this roster to what it is that they want it to be. I don't know if they got a 3 to 5 year plan. Hopefully they do, because we can't see it right now, y'all. Moving along, though, just staying last topic for the Raptors for now before we get into some other NBA topics. I've been very critical of Darko Rajakovic, maybe in an unpopular way, just in terms of some of the different Raptors fans I speak to and some of the different takes that I see on Twitter and various other places online. There's this sentiment around, Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster not really building the roster to Darko Rajakovic's system. And, he needs a little bit more time in order for it to work. Me personally, I just feel like a good coach is able to work with the pieces that you have and build something around your pieces. And I've consistently seen the defense just slip, like I was mentioning earlier, from like a top 8 defense to bottom third in the league now. I'm not saying that y'all got to agree with me, but there are instances in which we've seen coaches being fired after 1 year. We've seen Kevin O'Neal back in 2003, 2004 with the Raptors, by the way. So we're not like immune to not seeing this type of stuff. And, there's various other options. I think Stan Van Gundy was one. Nate Bjorkman, for whatever reason, another Raptors tie in the last couple of years. My question is to y'all, is there any way that the Raptors could possibly move on from Darko Rajakovic at the end of this season? And I'm going to start with Kenny on this one.
I sincerely hope so. I really hope they fire this guy. I'm not feeling him. I'm not feeling him, bro. Like, yo, I don't need you to like pat my players on the back right now. Like, that's not what development's about. It's just too buddy, bro. Last night, second timeout, first quarter, 3 minutes in, 2 timeouts, and you're clapping and patting guys on the back for what? For what? Like, I thought this guy was supposed to come in and Dennis Schroeder's like, he's honest and this and that. And it just seems like he's just trying to keep everybody happy, and I don't need that right now. I need guys to develop. And I don't really feel like he's doing a great job. I don't like his attitude. He doesn't seem like a winner to me. He's giving me like assistant coach energy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I tend to agree with that. Trey, what you got?
I don't know this. I don't have a problem with him, but I also just don't feel like I know him enough to really even make a determination. He just doesn't. That's kind of perfect the way Kanai summed it up. It's just assistant coach kind of energy. It's really, that's kind of the vibes I get off of him as well. But I also don't want to just like, close him off at the same time, because I don't feel like he's really had much to really work with. And at the same time, defense, a lot of it is effort too, right? Like you can't teach effort now, and they're getting blown out by 11 in the first quarter and stuff off the hop. It's really hard to teach that kind of thing. So, but I don't want to see guys getting patted on the back or participation awards either, right? So it goes both ways. These guys got to give a certain type of effort as well for this coach, but at the same time, he's got to demand a certain kind of something as well, and we're not really seeing that. So, do I want to see him lose his job after 1 year? Not really, because this is kind of the roster that you can't really do much with this roster. It is, hey, the business it's a dirty game. I don't know, man. It is what it is. If he goes, he goes. I won't miss him if he was to go.
Those are ours. You haven't been around that long.
Yeah.
You gotta give him a chance.
I don't care.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't care.
Good, but if he was also to get fired, I wouldn't be like, damn, we had the you know what I mean? It would, whatever.
We don't know what he is yet, to be fair.
Agreed.
Like, I don't know what he is. None of us do. I'm hoping that Bobby and Masai have an idea of who he is, and that's the reason why they hired him. And I hope they give him a chance, because if I'm Darko and I'm looking down the bench and it's time to start dipping in, I mean, who are they putting on, right? Who's he got to work with?
Malachi Flynn.
5 guys. We're talking. We need an 8-9 man rotation, and we don't have 5. We got like 3. You need an 8-9 man rotation. What's he supposed to do? What's the man supposed to do? Boucher, Flynn, and Gary Trent is the bench. Give the man some ingredients, and we might reap the benefit of what Bobby and Masai saw when they hired him. If we just fire him right after the first season, we may have missed something. We may have not have. We might go and get something better. But the fact of the matter is, he's who they have now. He's the hire they made, and it's not a great roster. So,
how much more rope does Masai get? How much do we like?
That's the bigger question. That's what I was hoping would be a point of conversation here is, hey,
because
they're
even this guy.
Yeah, like
let's have it.
They gave him the job, and then even for me, the bigger thing, last year's trade, Jakob Pertl. Hey, I love Jakob. He's not the rim protector he was. We gave a
No.
first round pick, top 6 protected, sure, and then we let Fred walk in free agency. It just
Right.
that doesn't seem to be meshing for me. So now we're talking about Masai and Bobby. Did they make the right or wrong hire? Did they gift San Antonio a 7th, 8th, 9th overall pick? These are things that Raptors fans should maybe be a little more upset about than Darko's start to his career, because he just don't really have the ingredients there. I'm thinking more like Masai and Bobby. What's going on? Are they
I
going to
still eating off the benefit of the doubt of that Kawhi move.
let Pascal walk? What are they going to do? What's Pascal's appetite to resign in Toronto? That's the other thing we don't know. Like, what's his appetite to stay around? Does he want to stay around? What's going to happen?
Contractually, he can get the most money by re-signing with Toronto, right? Because Toronto can offer him a 5th year on the contract because he's been with us for X amount of years, versus signing in free agency somewhere else where they can only offer him 4 years. So there's more incentive for him financially to stay here.
The man's making 35, 40 mil a year anyways. So, like, I mean, if I'm Pascal, do I want to stay on this roster? That's the question. And then what happens when you know that, or you have an idea of that? What are Bobby and Masai going to do? Because that's the bigger question. You can't let Fred walk. You can't trade for Pirtle for a top 6 protected, but still 7, 8, and 9. And then you can't let Pascal walk. That's like 3 big no-nos for me.
So I want to get in on this a little bit too. I understand exactly where everyone's coming from in the camp of how much leash are we going to give Masai and Bobby. And I think people are rightfully feel that way based on all the stuff that y'all just said, right? Putting this roster in a difficult situation where guys can walk, we're giving away draft picks to another team, all these different type of things. But here's the thing for me, right? And I know, to Trey's point, like, how long are we going to keep living off of that championship and all that?
Yeah.
But I remember that when Masai first got here, it's not like we had a whole bunch of ingredients in the cupboard for this team to be something. What we had was a coach that came in and established a culture. Shout out to my boy Dwayne Casey that was at the game last night. And they built something that was able to sustain the test of time over the course of the last decade. And I don't want Raptors fans to forget that. We are in a situation right now where Masai and Bobby, they are looking at this roster, because I'm pretty sure they are. I'm pretty sure not just sitting on their hands, just like, well, I don't know what happens next. They have a plan in place, right? And the plan is, in my opinion, is that they're going to start developing around Scotty Barnes. I would like to see how this front office that has a proven track record of being able to build, draft, find undrafted players, and develop with the right coach, if they're able to turn it around. I can't just dash away mans after we've seen this team go through hell and high water with guys like Rob Babcock, rest in peace. But this guy traded Vince Carter for a bag of chips and a Twix. Like, come on. You know what I'm saying? We now have a competent front office, and I think we need to give them just a little bit more leash, in my opinion.
Especially more than the coach.
Yes.
More than the coach. Remember, and I gotta say this again, I agree with you, Kyle, here, because if we remember how the whole Rudy Gay thing went, and then we got guys like Chuck Hayes. We know we needed a veteran. We got Chuck Hayes. We got what's his name? What is the point guard's name? The Latino kid.
Grievous Vasquez.
Grievous Vasquez. John Salmons. The whole bench. Like, that's how the bench mob came about. I don't have a problem with. And when I asked you guys about the 3-year plan, I don't have a problem with that. Like, I'm just saying there's steps that we've seen taken that need to be taken now at this point that I expect to happen based on how we got to that championship team, right? Based on how we developed Kyle and DeMar, how we chipped away at that culture. Okay, so what are we getting for OG? What are we getting for Pascal? Because again, to me, the clear person to build around at this point, we never even had a person to build around when we did the whole, we're going to give DeMar the keys and Kyle Lowry. Those guys just kind of, we got lucky and they took it over. We actually have, for once, a half decent draft pick. You know what I mean? Since Vince Carter. You know what I mean? And Chris Bosh. Right? I think he's better than Chris Bosh. Vince Carter was a phenom. But, this kid Scotty, he is him, but you have to give him the keys and you have to build around him. And I think Masai's the guy to do it. I think he has till trade deadline to do it. I won't lie. Like, he can only fudge this trade deadline one more time. And then end of the season, it's walking papers. He doesn't have it. So I already see that coming. But we just have to let go. We develop those things. It's the last of our development chips from that championship era that we have to play with. And I think OG and Pascal, for what we invested in them, I think they're both second round picks, maybe.
You saying Boucher's got?
You know what I mean? Like Pascal. What?
I said Chris Boucher's got a chip. You saying he's not fetching nothing?
He might even fetch something for that, but I'm just saying, in order to build around Scotty right now, the way that I see us getting something for Chris Boucher is that we probably give up on a star like we did on Rudy Gay. You know what I mean? We're gonna have to, give a star away, and I think it's gonna be Pascal. And then I think we acquire some pieces, and then when money frees up and guys are looking for little things here and there next year, in the off season, I think then we get rid of guys like Chris Boucher and Gary Trent Jr. Gary Trent Jr., like I said, and Chris Boucher, to me, I look at them as very dangerous pieces. They're just not in a system that is allowing them to be what they need to be right now. And there isn't enough consistency because we're fucking losing. We're losing because I think it's every day it's a war between who's going to take over this game, Pascal or Scotty. There's no rhythm to the team. We don't know who we're depending on. If we're going to lose with Scotty, we're going to lose with Scotty the same way we lost with Pascal. It's okay, right? But at the end of the day, to me, he's worth a lot more than Pascal, so I'm giving him the keys. That's how we start that culture rebuild.
We don't have a facilitator. I keep saying it. Like, if we had a true facilitator, if we had a true point man, he would know who to go to in what situation, right? Like, hand on heart, right?
He's Draymond Green.
Comes right back to who's your leader.
Who's your leader? Who's facilitating the ball? Who's being able to read the defense? Who's going with the flow of the game? Who understands? Okay,
I don't think Scotty Barnes could be that guy though.
No, but I'm talking about.
Yeah, you have a problem with that.
But he can be a point guard. Why not?
In the half court,
I don't want to see.
I don't see it happening in the half court. I think when they get out in space, amazing vision, great arm. He looks like a quarterback sometimes, the way he slings it. But in the half court, I'm not sure that that's the best spot for him.
Bro, Magic Johnson won 5 championships as a 6'9" point guard.
That's not,
what are we talking about?
Not the body,
right? Like, we're talking about Magic, now we're talking about Scotty, who's a great player.
I'm not saying Scotty's going to be a top 5 player of all time. What I'm saying is just based on player profile, on your skill set.
Yeah,
you know
I'm not saying his height. Like, I'm down for tall point guards. Like, that's not. I'm just saying when you watch Scotty in the half court, he's not a better facilitator than when he's running and he's playing the three.
That great. Like he doesn't.
I don't know, man.
He's a good player, like in the half court, no doubt. But at the one, like, I don't know if that's the best spot.
Yeah,
for
we
him.
just need a Pat
Riley. Who's the facilitator on Golden State?
What's that?
Who's the facilitator on Golden State? Yeah, who is the facilitator on Golden State? Is it not Draymond Green?
Yeah,
yes, and
it is.
Sure.
Right?
Because all those guys are running around the screens.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's all it is. It's not that we don't have a facilitator. We're not building around the type of facilitator that we have. We're looking to go to this. We are no longer any of those teams. We are the Scotty Barnes Raptors. And I don't know why it's taking everybody around this organization to buy into that. To me, that's the most frustrating thing to watch. I watch Scotty, and I can tell that he wants the keys. Like, if nobody can see it, he's taking the last shots. He's not even waving away the last shots. You hear the things this kid's saying. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna take the 3 against the Spurs. Like, this kid wants to be him. How often do you get somebody like that? It's not Pascal. We wish it was Pascal, but I want to know why we're so afraid to.
When they go down by 20, I said when they go down by, say they're down by 25 and it's halftime, and they go to the change room. Who's who is yoking mans up and putting people in a headlock and making their voice be heard, or is all these guys just like looking at that shit? Oh, come on, guys, we need to play harder. And what do
I
you think?
think that, like, from the
That's
reactions,
what it is, man.
from the
Pardon?
reactions on the court, I think that's someone's doing that because they're coming back. They're doing it a lot. Unfortunately, they're digging themselves a hole, but they're a second half team. Like, I hate to say it, but they are. So
So
somebody's
is
doing
it the
that.
coach's responsibility to have your team ready at the beginning of the game?
Yeah, I know. We've had this conversation before offline. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fucking party, Darko. Yeah.
That's why it is.
the players got to get ready too. It's not all on the coach, man. It cannot be all on the coach, and it was never all on the coach.
Yeah.
I've seen it firsthand. It's
You
not.
know what? You
It
can't.
cannot all be on the coach.
Scotty cannot raise up Pascal, and Pascal's not raising up anybody. That's the problem. There is no Fred VanVleet. Fred was the clear person who was raising up everybody in the locker room last year. Scotty can't raise up Pascal, and Pascal won't raise nobody. And again, to me, it's just time to move on from an era. It's okay. Pascal's a great player. Love having him around, but he will, I promise he'll have better success somewhere else than sitting here with this team and trying to compete with Scotty about who's, what I mean? Like, it's time to let Scotty have it. Fred left. Fred knew what was going on. Pascal doesn't want to leave because he's comfortable. And he's that kind of guy. He wants to be comfortable. You can see that. Scotty wants to get uncomfortable. Scotty wants to get into his teammates. He wants to be that guy, but you have to give him the keys. He's not the right now. Pascal's got the biggest pockets on that team, right? Everything goes through him, and they're gonna keep him happy because he's got the biggest pockets on that team.
Not for long.
That's the way it's playing out to me.
It might not be
I
for
hope
long.
not.
It's
I
Bobby
hope
and
not. I really hope not.
it's Bobby and Masai who are sweating right now. They've got to figure out what they're going to do with Pascal, and that's the precipice of this entire fandom that we're stuck in. Is that it's Pascal, and that's the one thing that needs to either change or stay the same. But Bobby and Masai, they got to be sweat. They have to be sweating right now. They got to get this right. They've got to get the Pascal conundrum right, and they got to get the Scotty as a him right. And it's a big decision, and it's coming quick, right? Like when's the deadline? When's the trade deadline?
It's sometime around February, like I think after the All-Star break. So I think everybody made some really good points in terms of what this roster should look like in terms of construction, who they need to hand the keys to, what are some of the missing pieces. And I'd love to have y'all back again in the next month or so to discuss that very topic, or even before that. But let's keep moving along here. I want to talk about some Western Conference stuff. Like tonight, Tuesday, what's the date? December 19th. Ja Morant has finally served his entire 25-game suspension. We know about all of his past transgressions and run-ins with the law and all these types of things, and flashing the blicky allegedly. But like, he has the ability now to come back and add a extremely large missing piece to this Memphis Grizzlies team, because they were running around as like the second seed in the West last year, and they've fallen all the way, I think, down to like 13th or 14th in the West. So they are looking forward to Ja Morant coming back. My question to y'all is, what are your thoughts on Ja Morant's return, and is his return enough to get the Grizzlies back in the right winning situation to make the playoffs? Let's start with Phil on this one.
Ja's back. Like, good for him. He's coming back. I hope he's figured it out. Whatever. I'm a fan. What he does off the court, that's on him. Of course, Memphis is going to be better. Of course. Who they got running the offense right now? Marcus Smart.
He's injured, to be honest.
He's injured too.
Desmond Bane.
They got Bane, yeah. So Bane, but Ja Morant's coming back. They've got Bane. They've got a legitimate 3-point shooter in Kennard. They got the reigning defensive MVP. Of course they're going to be better. The only problem is, how long is it going to take for him to get back up to game speed? And what's his mindset going to be like? And what's the mindset of the team going to be towards him? Because, hey, if I'm sitting in that locker room, me as an individual, and Trey's shaking his head, hey, man, like, what did you do? What did you do to this team? Now you're going to come back? Now you're going to have the keys? What are you going to do for us? There's so much pressure in that locker room. There's got to be some animosity in that locker room. they've just dug themselves such a hole though. And you look in the West and the teams they gotta catch. Phoenix is in the 10th spot right now.
Mm-hmm.
And how many games back are they of Phoenix? Like what? Probably 8, 9. I think
I can check. I mean, last I saw, they were like 6-18. I'm gonna double check this right now, though.
Yeah, they're 6-19. So
Yeah,
they're 10 games back of the
Wow.
Suns. You know who they gotta jump? They gotta jump Golden State. They gotta jump Utah. They gotta compete with Houston. They gotta compete with LA. No, it's not happening. I hope it happens for Ja. I hope he comes back. I hope he figures it out. I hope his team is welcoming. I hope they figure it out. They're a fun team to watch. They got lots of talent. It's too late for them this year, though. It's too late.
So
coming back.
So let me just ask y'all something, right? Just to give you some stats. Ja Morant in 2021-2022 averaged 27.4 points per game, 5.7 rebounds, 6.7 assists. The very next season, he averaged 26.2 points per game, 5.9 rebounds, and 8.1 assists. So this is a guy that we're talking about as an MVP candidate in the last couple of seasons. You're telling me that an MVP type caliber player is not able to make up enough games for the Grizzlies to possibly slide into a play-in spot, which currently right now, I think we said what they're, I just checked, they're like 7 games out, 8 games out.
I agree with that point. From a skill point standpoint, he's going to do it. But the problem is they're 25 games late. They got 6 wins. The teams they need to jump. And all those other variables about how the locker room's going to handle it. What's his game shape going to be? You know, how are they going to change the offense? How quickly is it going to change? How are they going to be able to get into that mindset? It's going to take 15, 20 more games, give or take, right? Maybe even 10. They're just too far behind. And the teams they're going to have to compete and jump against, very difficult teams they're going to be good teams and they're going to win games. And Memphis has got to figure this out quick. And another thing about Memphis, bottom half rebounding team in the NBA on the OND boards. Now, Ja's going to get rebounds. He's a dog, but they're not rebounding the ball very well. They're playing good defense. Their offense is last in the NBA.
I'm sure Ja Morant's 27 points a game will help that out.
He's going to help him out, but I mean, you got 6 wins in 25 games. It might be too late. I respect the point you make. He's all-star caliber, all-star. But my opinion might be a little too late. But we'll see.
What about you, Kanai? Is Ja Morant's return a little bit too late in order for the Grizzlies to get back in this thing in the West?
I see you throwing shade, huh? Like, I see
How?
you throwing shade because, I said Memphis was going to be good this year.
That's your
Don't worry
guilty
about Ja
conscience.
Morant.
I never said nothing about you.
No, I don't feel guilty. I don't feel guilty at all. Let me tell you something, bro. Okay? First of all, you feels right. It is going to be a handy task. But you know who I don't trust? I don't trust the number 5 Mavericks. I don't trust the number 7 Pelicans. I do trust the Lakers. I don't know about the Rockets. Rockets is young. Suns, well, they're one injury away from who knows complete disaster. The Warriors, I trust them more than I trust all those teams I just mentioned. The Jazz, don't trust them, and they're right ahead of the Grizzlies. And then we have the number 2 and the number 1 seeds, the Timberwolves and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Those are the new 1 and 2 in the league right now. They are respectively 3 games ahead of the reigning champ Nuggets and 6 games ahead of the Lakers, who were in the finals last year. There's a lot of injury time to make up. There's a lot of ground to make up in this NBA. If anybody can go on a run right now, it's going to be Memphis. Memphis will be getting healthier. Well, I can't say that anybody else will be getting out healthier, but they'll be getting some guys back soon, and they're getting the reigning MVP back, or not MVP, but MVP candidate. So I don't, like I said, I don't trust half of these teams that are in the mix right now. I think they can do it. If not for the play-in, they can still gun for 6th in a good world. The Clippers are just getting better. Clippers will be in number 1 by the time All-Star break comes around.
I got a topic on the Clippers. That's coming up soon.
How many wins you need in the West? How many wins you need in the West to make the play-in?
To make the play-in? I think last year it was like 41 or something like that, or 38.
Let's call it 40. So 34 games. They need 34 more wins. How many games they got left to play?
How many have they played so far?
25. So 82 minus 25.
25 it'll be.
So they got 57 games. So they got to go 34-23. I mean,
That's doable, man.
that's doable. If you look at the numbers
Damn
like that,
doable.
that's doable. That's a 60% clip. So like if you look at it like that, that's
Damn
doable.
doable.
This was a team that was number 2 in the West last year before they had a complete just breakdown, right? And it didn't help that they had to go against a veteran team in the Lakers in the first round last year. I don't know. I definitely agree with you, Phil. I do think that this is a tall mountain for them to climb. But once we just broke down those numbers there, and with Ja Morant, the type of player that he can be, and they've got some veteran guys over there now. They've got Derrick Rose, that's gonna be a change to the locker room, and Marcus
No
Smart,
sound.
who has that dog in him. So it's very possible. I'm not gonna bank on it, but yeah, I think it's possible. What do you think on this, Trey?
I have no sound. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you, bro.
Yes.
I have no sound. I can't hear you guys at all. I don't know what's going on over here.
All right, let's move on then.
Hold on. Before you do though, let me say this just on that topic before you go anywhere. Isn't it crazy? Because I'm pretty sure that the Memphis Grizzlies eliminated somehow. Didn't they eliminate fucking the Minnesota Timberwolves like a year ago or 2 years ago in the playoffs or in a play-in game or something of that sort to go ahead 1 year ago? And now
Might have been.
there's no real Grizzlies to be seen. You know what I mean? This season they've been pretty trash. Ja Morant's not around, who was, they were talking all that trash back and forth. And now the Timberwolves are number one. But that's their nemesis right there. I can't wait to see what they look like on January the 18th. I just want to say that. I think that's must see TV.
Oh, say where? They play each other?
Yeah.
I like that.
All right.
But yeah, it's just a lot. I think it's a lot to ask. They got Dylan Brooks or Tyus Jones again either. So I don't know. They got Marcus Smart and Rose.
I mean, there's no
Dylan
doubt
Brooks
that
is
they're
worth money, eh?
huh?
I mean,
Dylan Brooks is worth money.
Yeah, he's
Popping,
man.
What a revival.
I mean, I think that started at the FIBA World Championships for Canada. He was one of the better players in the tournament. If y'all watched that shit,
Yeah.
Dog. He talks
He was
too
a
much,
dog,
maybe sometimes, but man's a baller.
I mean, he's backing it up right now, man.
He's backing it up.
Yeah,
so,
backing it up.
Kanai, one of the teams that you said that you trusted a little more than the Grizzlies was the Golden State Warriors, and they also have their own.
No.
Huh?
I said I trust Golden State more than any of the teams that I mentioned before them. I trust the Grizzlies a little more than the Golden State Warriors right now at this point. Injury.
Oh, I got you. Thank you for correcting me. I tried to do a segue. Maybe the segue just wasn't like.
I need good effort. This is good effort.
A for effort, right?
Yeah.
Or E for effort.
Guys out here trying to kill me.
So Draymond Green has been suspended indefinitely for punching Yusuf Nurkic on December 12th. He also has a long list of altercations, including putting Rudy Gobert in a headlock, stomping on Domantas Sabonis' chest, punching Jordan Poole and the Warriors. He got a lot of different. Come on, yo. I don't even want to get his rap list out here because I don't want to kick a guy while he's down either, yo. But losing Draymond Green is just a huge loss for the Golden State Warriors. Right now, the Warriors are 11th in the West, and they may make the playoffs. They may not make the playoffs. But my question to y'all is the Warriors dynasty over?
It's been over for time. That dynasty has been over for time. And I'll tell you why. You look back from 14 to 17, yeah, three championships, went to the championship the other year. Cool. From 2018, they won in 21, but what else have they done besides that? That's one championship.
Won in 21. That
one
was 2 years ago.
In the last 5 years. That's what I'm saying. One championship in the last 5 years. One championship in the last 5 years is not a dynasty. Y'all
fell off, man.
They haven't been a dynasty since 2018, bro. The
What?
dynasty's been done, bro. They won in 2021. Good for them. But aside from that, they've won 3 playoff rounds in 5 years. That dynasty's been done for some time. That's my opinion.
Okay. I like that
That's
take.
my rant because I'm done with the Warriors dynasty. I've been done with them for time. Y'all came back in 2021. You won. Good for you. But no, that dynasty's done.
You got the Raptors championship hat on, guy. You're not hearing nothing about the Warriors today,
Oh,
B.
you're not like Steph Curry, man.
Oh my god. Good night, man. Draymond Green's gone for the actually we really don't know. He's gone indefinitely. Obviously a big blow to the Warriors.
Hey, come on, guy.
The dynasty over?
Just do better, bro. Yeah, it seems so. I mean, here's the thing with them. They still got Steph Curry. Klay Thompson went off for 28 last night. All right. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I can say they're done. They're a very well built organization. If they can get Kaminga going, I think they need to really do some character checks over there. You know what I mean? Like, I think they got older, and as they got older, they got scrappier. But it's an identity that can be a gift and a curse, right? Like, Jordan probably deserved a box, bro, but it doesn't mean it should have happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't mean that it should have happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's ways to handle, what's going on, and even the fact that it got out, like, you know what I mean? That's kind of like the beginning of the end for me. Like, you guys not taking care of your, again, culture. Like, it's so important. It's so important to have, like, a winning culture, and it's great to have the chippiness and whatever, but it doesn't look like anybody can really keep Draymond in check. And I'm not saying that he has to be, I'm saying, like, monitored like a child or anything, but at the same time, bro, like, okay, we know you punched Jordan Poole like last year. You know what I'm saying? You're getting suspended. Like, this is like, what are you choking Rudy Gobert for? Like, why are you that angry? Like, what's going on, bro? It's a
Xavier, the
game.
dynasty's over.
People
It's
are
been
gonna
over
scuffle.
years.
Yeah, it's not over. They're a very dangerous team. I can't say it's over. Like, I could just say that it's in jeopardy. It's in serious jeopardy because they did win one in the last fucking 5. Like,
5 years.
they won in 2021. They beat the flipping Celtics, man. Nobody can beat the Celtics apparently. Celtics have been gunning for championships for 3 years now, and they beat them handedly.
Trey, you back with us, fam?
I think so. I think it's
All right,
working.
cool. Yeah, we can hear you. You can hear us proper.
Cool.
So I'm not sure when you came back in, but the question is basically with the Warriors losing Draymond indefinitely for punching Yusuf Nurkic. Is that the beginning
Sell a
or the
call.
end of
Stop
the?
it. It wasn't a punch. He was trying to sell a call.
Damn, that's what he said too.
What?
That's what Draymond said. That's
I
how you
know.
feel.
Nah, bro.
Dude, right?
Wasn't a punch, man. I've never been punched like that in my life. It was like a backhand swinging.
It was a
spin.
flail.
Yeah, it was a flail.
A little flail. Just a little flail. But
The guy
regardless of
turned
whatever
around.
it was.
He used
to
his
answer
right
your
hand, bro. It's a Hail Mary.
it's once again, it's a fine line with a guy like that, right? Is it over? I don't think so, to be honest, because those guys can go on a streak at any point in time. They still got Steph Curry over there. If Andrew Wiggins decides he wants to start playing basketball again, they still got him over there, right? And even Chris Paul, he's not dead, right? So it's just a matter of them putting it all together and going on a little bit of a run. And I think, like, if they really went on a 15-game streak right now, would we be shocked?
No.
Maybe just because they've been so inconsistent the last however long, but they have the pieces to do so.
For this context, we're talking about dynasties. We really need to start talking about if they go on a run. Like, if you're talking about a dynasty, you don't need to be talking about them going on a run. It's that they're it.
Yeah.
They're at the top.
So to answer that, then they're capable of still winning.
They're capable of winning, but the dynasty's been over. That's the last time I'm going to say that.
Well,
It's
got like 2 years
year
between
removed
shots.
from winning, so they can't be been over.
one championship in the last 5 years. One championship in the last 5 years.
But
3 and 4 is a dynasty. 3 and 4 is a
right,
dynasty.
right.
One
So
last
we
five.
gotta go back. We gotta count that one and go back from that, not the last 5.
And let's go back. Then let's go back to 21 then, and just say, hey, what is it? Then it's 4 in 8 years. But now we're dragging it out.
4 and 8 years, the championship every other year. We
That's
did
Yeah.
it for the Spurs. Okay,
That's
the
Yeah.
Spurs went on this long ass run, right, over the course of, I believe it was like 8 or it might have been 8 seasons or 10
Yeah,
seasons,
Spurs
something like
got
that.
dynasty status over that. Over the 2010s, I guess I should say. Golden State was a dynasty.
It was a dynasty, but it was front heavy. It's front loaded now. Now we've been at the tail end of it. It's just, to me, it's front heavy. 2021 happened. Yeah, sure.
God, they didn't even win. Like they won in like 2022. Like
No,
they won in 2022.
They won 22. Yeah.
Don't forget they lost the
Yeah,
chip
they won in
Raptors,
2022.
right?
Exactly. They were there in 2019 and lost too.
And like these guys have been in the
Right.
final.
Yeah, that's
And
fair.
I know this is a Raptors podcast, but there's a lot of other people out here that feel like if they were healthy in that series, they
They're
probably would have beat us.
Yeah, washing us.
I mean, I'm not gonna say that, but like, you know,
Come on,
I'm not mad at anybody that does say it. Like I understand where they're coming from.
That's sacrilegious.
Yeah, he's not hearing that at all, yo. All right, yo. So I don't know. Phil says Warrior Dynasty been over. The rest of us kind of feel like, maybe not. We'll see. The Warriors have a lot of ground to make up in the West this year to even sniff a championship. I think we could all agree with that. But one team that is definitely on a win streak right now is the LA Clippers. They have won their last 12 of 15 now that James Harden is on the squad. And this is a team that started off after the James Harden trade on November 1st, where I think they lost like 6 straight, something along those lines. But they've been able to turn it around. And quick couple stats here for you guys before we get into the conversation. Paul George has played in 25 of 26 games this season. And Kawhi Leonard, the Claw, our boy, he's played and started in all 26 games this year for the Clippers. Listen to his last 6 games. 41 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. 34, 6 and 5. 31, 4 and 3. 27, 5 and 8. 36, 7 and 4. 28, 2 and 1. He's literally shooting 66.7% from the floor during that stretch. So my question to you guys is, do you believe that this version of the LA Clippers can finally get over the hump and be a legit title contender? Who wants to start this one out?
I believe that. Yeah, shit. Why not? I'm just not a Harden fan. I'm just not a Harden guy. I never will be. I just believe he's a cancer. At some point, he's gonna do what Harden does. It's kind of like Kyrie. You're kind of like expecting one sort of weird thing to happen every season with this guy. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of a matter of time. Unfortunately, I'm a fan of PG. I'm a fan of Kawhi. I like Norm. I like a bunch of guys over there on the Clippers. But if we are resting, if we're relying on a man named James Harden, then what has history shown us? That's all.
That's fair.
You know,
a lot of fans felt like they really didn't even need James Harden, right? Because they still got Russell Westbrook coming off the bench. So let's say you do lose Harden for some cancerous situation. It's not like this roster is not capable of still putting in some damage in the West.
Let them get them to the playoffs, and then let PG and Kawhi do their thing from there.
That's what they're going to depend on. They're going to have to. They don't have the depth up front. They got Zubik, but who else do they have up front? Like what? They're going to have to.
That 7'5" guy that doesn't do anything. What's his name?
Boban.
What's his name?
Boban.
Yeah,
he's still there.
The commercial.
Yeah, Boban.
You need depth, right? I mean, top end talent. Hey, there's probably no one better in the league. Kawhi, PG, Harden, just from a talent standpoint, like that's got to be like up there, right? But
one thing that we have to factor in, sorry to cut you off there, Phil, but one thing we have to factor in on, and I'd like to hear you guys on this as well. This new fraud thing that happens now in the NBA where guys get bought out of their contracts and they can go on the buy-in market after trade deadline. The Clippers is a destination where some of these vets may want to go. So they may be thin up front line now, but that is going to be a destination. And it's sunny LA.
It is. If they get some depth up front, like why not? We got it's Kawhi. He's like our anointed saint. We can never speak ill of him, right? But Trey's right. Like Harden's going to get into some nonsense eventually. The bigger issue is they're 32, 33, 34 years old. There's no depth up front. Aside from Norm and like Terrence Mann, what's the depth looking like even on the bench from a scoring perspective? They're just going to have to – it's going to be so heavily reliant on those three. It'd be cool to see, but yeah, it's a tough league to win, and you got to have depth. You got to have rebounding. You got to have rim protection.
On those guys, man. I like the Clippers. And we obviously like Kawhi. I'm a PG fan. I just don't think Harden deserves this shit, bro. Like, get out of here, man.
Yeah, he's filling times. And that man's had enough chances with enough players.
Yeah, playoffs are gonna go ghost. Like, man, get out of here.
He doesn't have to show up in the playoffs, like you said. Just rely on Kawhi and PG. Kanai, what you got on this one, man?
This is when Boston had the big three, and then LeBron joined Miami. That's what this is. The only thing is you have to wonder, like, the Clippers are not as young as Miami is, right? They're gonna be good. Like, I mean, they already are good, and we keep talking about how short they are up front, but Norman Powell and Terrence Mann and Russell Westbrook come off the bench. You know what I mean? Like, who's your bench? Is Russell Westbrook on your bench? Who's got a six man like Russ coming off the bench? Terrence Mann is still a decent player. You know what I mean? If anything, he had to take a step back because Harden's there now. And the one thing that's scary about these guys, it's all a bunch of guys who like couldn't get over the hump with a guy who dragged the team of he dragged us for the first part of that over the hump. You know what I mean? It was all Kawhi all the way until maybe the end of Philly. It was a lot of Kawhi. You know what I mean? Yes, Siakam had some good games, but you didn't really know there wasn't any flow to it. Now he's got James Harden and PG and Russell Westbrook. And like they hung 150 points on somebody last night. 150 points. Like, imagine that.
Indiana.
That's on a good night.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, they're not defensive, but it's still 150 points to hang on somebody's head top is a lot of fucking points. That's a lot of offense. You know what I mean? And if Kawhi is one thing, he's fucking efficient. So if it comes down to they're healthy at the end of the year, like, this is the team that they're a team that's going to put fear into the heart of Denver. How do you stop that if they're healthy? Who do you stop that with on Denver? Sorry, bro. They're a problem. The only thing that they have is, he's right, Phil's right, is they're 36, 34. You know, they're old respectively. You know what I mean? But let that bench get going, and they're going to be a huge problem if they're healthy in any semblance going into the playoffs.
Yeah. So it sounds like we all agree that this team is definitely set up to be dangerous if, they can stay healthy and have a few other things go right their way. So I just want to stay on the same, I guess, player, Kawhi Leonard. Kanai, you mentioned again, he basically dragged us through to the third round of the playoffs. As you said that, I was thinking about the Milwaukee series, and I was like, I think he probably dragged us up to game 5 of the Milwaukee series, and then from there, man, started getting their stuff together, yo. But nevertheless, the point still stands. Like, this guy, he was an intricate part in terms of what he was able to do to help deliver a championship here to Toronto. I did an episode, I think it was episode 19, on this podcast channel called Deserveth. And the whole question around it as to whether Kawhi Leonard deserved a statue here in Toronto. And the way that I kind of answered it was like, I don't think he deserves an individual statue here, but I thought that he deserved some sort of commemoration type statue in a Legends row type situation, similar to like what the Maple Leafs did. And I thought Vince Carter would be included in that Legends row, as well as DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, and Kawhi Leonard, just for his shot in Game 7 against the Philadelphia 76ers, which is probably um, one of the best moments that we've seen in NBA history, in my opinion, and definitely one of the top ones in Raptors history. So, my question to you guys is, does Kawhi Leonard deserve some sort of statue here in Toronto at some point for his contribution to the 2019 championship? Let's start with Kanai on this one.
No. You get a bust.
A bust?
Going from like the shoulder up, you get a bust. Like, you get a bust. But you can't get no statue, dog. You know what I mean? Like, it's like yo, like, what's going on? Why is that even a question in Toronto, bro? Like, you keep pictures of your old girlfriend around? I don't care how good she was. It's not. Like, come on, bro. Nah. A bust. Him, Vince Carter, everybody that left, they get a bust. You could probably you would get more love if you gave Kyle Lowry a statue. You know what I mean?
Preach.
Like, there's a two-way appreciation there. He's coming back here to, like, he understands what this was to him. You know what I mean? Kawhi was like, it was just another stop. You know, he won a championship. He was like, I'm still going to LA. Bust.
All right. Phil, what you got on this?
Man's got the banner. He can come look at the banner whenever he wants.
Facts.
We're talking about statues. We've had this conversation offline. There's more that goes into a statue. Longevity, loyalty, fan base love. To be around long enough for the fan base to love you, to truly love you. I mean, he's got the banner. If the man would have stayed and won another one, build him an individual statue. Build him he doesn't care about statues anyways. That man don't care about a statue, so why would we give him one? Right. Honestly. So eventually they do need an honors. If there was a ring of honor, I mean, he would have to be in that discussion. He would have to be, but he would have to be enshrined with other greats, and it just couldn't be him. And Nick Nurse would have to be on it too, Kyle. Nick Nurse would have to.
We've had that conversation.
Don't be enshrined in Kawhi, and then don't enshrine Nick. That's just my personal opinion. I can see Kanai shaking his head. That's me.
Okay, fair enough. Trey, what you got on it?
Yeah, same thing. I echo the sentiments of these gentlemen. I give him like a little poll that you could push the button and you could hear his like laugh at the press conference. You know what I mean?
That shit's hilarious.
Just to push the button. But like for real, I don't know, man. I agree. Give him like a little commemorative thing along with the other guys. But if I saw that before I saw even a DeRozan statue, I'd be tripping. You know what I mean? Like,
they got the banner. That's all the commemoration he needs. That's it. You got the banner.
Got the banner. Like, we don't need nothing else, bro.
There's probably still murals of that man around the city.
Facts.
Right? There's probably still
definitely.
And sure, keep your murals. They're gonna paint over those, but
from a mural of the shot,
A mural shot, sure.
Yeah, but no statue. That's crazy. That would be typical Toronto shit. You know what I mean? Give that man a statue for coming
because we're so starved, right? Like, we're just starved.
He's the goal.
We just need it.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. And with the Leafs, like I love the Leafs. That honors roll, those players, man, those are like saints. Those are like dudes that have been around.
They lived and died.
They lived and died it. Yeah. They don't play with half of them even play with helmets on, bro. Goalies even play with masks on. That's who gets enshrined. I love Kawhi, but no.
That's the thing too. Like you and I were talking offline about that also, and like I don't think I understand exactly who those Leafs players were because I'm not like the biggest hockey guy. But it sounds like what you're saying to me, like those guys are like, it's not really about their statistical contributions. It's some of the different things that you mentioned, like tenure and just your respect and love around the city.
Yes, sir. That's exactly it. And Kawhi had that. He was gonna get that, but man left, made the decision. We'll make our decision. That's that.
Damn.
Yeah, man.
He got his parade too, man. He saw the parade. That's it. That's all. But what else you want? You got a ring, banner, parade.
That guy is never gonna pay for a meal as soon as when he walks through this town. Nothing when he walks.
If he even comes back, man. Like what? You're gonna come back when he plays. That's it.
Yeah, probably never.
I don't want to talk. I don't know.
He ain't coming back. You're right. He's not.
So I'm tripping there, yo. To all the Raptors fans listening out there, these three guys have just put me in my place. I apologize for saying that. Nah, I don't apologize. That shot was lit, boy. That shot was lit. I'm not talking about the player. I'm just talking about the moment, because what we felt in that moment, I can only think about just bringing my grandkids through Scotiabank Arena, pointing to that right there and be like, yo, that moment right there, everybody stood up at the same time in the friggin' city in unison, and they felt something all at the same time. Okay. It's not about Kawhi. It's about the moment. Iconic? Huh?
Is that more iconic than Vince? Is that more iconic than the 360 between the legs, Carter?
Yes. Yes, because that led to our only championship.
It means a different. It means something different, I think.
Yeah.
Like the 360 dunk was VC. Like, no, we here. Like, we can ball. Like, we like basketball. We got a man. You know.
Yeah.
We know what's good. The championship was different.
I agree. The shot's one of the biggest shots in playoff history. I think it's one of the biggest shots in playoff history. I don't think that's the biggest shot in Toronto's basketball history. I don't think that's the biggest depiction of our basketball history.
What do you got as the biggest shot?
Bigger than that.
Just
it's curious. Not like I get it. It's huge, right? But it's not like the picture of Kyle Lowry holding the trophy to me is a bigger moment. Like, I don't see it's a great moment. I understand that. Like, don't get it twisted. It's just, yo, I can't put that on a statue though. That's for some like everybody else says. The moment is sullied by the fact that you left, that you didn't want to stay. You have one of the biggest moments in basketball history, period. Like, nobody's won a game 7 like that, I don't think. You know what I'm saying? There's only a couple game 7 shot winners ever in history. And you did that in this city. You won it. This is probably one of your best runs ever as a player, and you still chose to leave. So I can't, in my head, even though the shot is big,
I'm bitter.
There's other basketball moments that I just have to prioritize over it.
Yeah.
If I was just,
you didn't want to be here.
Agree with what you're saying, but I don't blame the man one bit either. You know what I'm saying? Give me $40 million to go home to LA. Bye. You know what I mean? Like, it is.
Yeah.
For basketball reasons, we could have ran it back, sure, but for life, give me, and I get to go home and play down the street for my kids and still get paid as much.
Give me 2 years, bro. Give me
man.
2 years, 2 more. We would have crushed the bubble. We would have crushed the fucking bubble. Give me 2 years, dog. I didn't even ask you for 4.
That's us as Toronto fans.
Give me 2 years, bro.
I agree. We would have. I think we would have damn near ran it back. I do, but I just don't blame. I can't blame that. I would have left too. I really would
have. That whole entire situation, I know it's not the exact same thing, but the way that this city felt about Vince Carter at one point, because I was one of those fans up there in the Sprite Zone booing Vince Carter, yo. And look at this. I'm wearing his jersey today, yo. Time heals, and we will figure that out at some point. I'm not saying we got to go give Kawhi a statue tomorrow. I'm just saying at some point, we will definitely look past this and be like, all right, yo, he did what he had to do for his family.
I hope.
Let me ask you this question. You give Kawhi a statue now, right? We act like we're never going to win again. You give Kawhi a statue now, and then let's say Scotty Barnes goes on and in his 7th year wins a championship. Which one's bigger?
I never said now. I said at some point. I wouldn't do it now. I'm not that crazy.
A bust, he gets a bust.
I like that answer too.
A bust, bro. At the most, bro.
And that
bust is classy.
In Vince's jersey right now, that doesn't absolve him from that bitch ass moment.
Damn. Nah, man. Vince put the city on the map, yo. And now that I'm older, I understand Rob Babcock and these guys are fooling around with him and stuff. Come on,
I said,
man.
two things can be true. The organization could have done some punk ass stuff, and he still could have been a soft ass little girl when handling it. It did so. It is the way he went about his business too. I don't rate. He will always be the man. He will always be the guy that put Toronto on the map. But I will always look at you different because of that movement that he did. Straight up.
Man, you are cold as ice, fam. It's been like what, 23
Ice, bro.
years or something like that.
I am still the damaged little boy who
Oh
watched
my god.
a player walk out
Yeah, dog.
on.
I don't mean to laugh at your pain. My apologies.
That's trauma.
Damn, this man is traumatized, man.
You're making it hard, bro.
So, anyways, yeah, yo, I am not mad at anyone that takes the stance that y'all take. I don't think anyone's wrong in this situations. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I seem to be the only one that has this opinion in this case, but that's okay. Let's keep moving on here. Just a couple of more topics. We're running on an hour and a half here, and I'm taking up man's times. But I definitely appreciate all of you for coming through. But I do want to just get like your full attention in terms of this question, because I think Kanai kind of mentioned it earlier in terms of the Minnesotas of the world, the OKCs of the world. I would even say like the Orlando Magics of the world. These are some of the teams that were once a younger type of team that we looked at as like a cupcake type team that has been able to right the ship and just all the way to the top of the conference. Now, coming into the season, there were some thoroughbreds that we thought should be around, right? We thought that the Denver Nuggets in the West, the Lakers, the Suns in the East, we had the Celtics, the Bucks, and the 76ers. My question is, outside of those contenders that we looked at from the beginning of the season, that are some of them are still up there in the standings. What are some dark horse teams that could potentially make a real shot at a playoff run this year, based on what we've seen so far? And I'm not going to hold you to it because shit can change in like a minute. But in terms of where things are right now,
I got one.
No,
The Brooklyn Nets.
no.
Brooklyn Nets. Now, hey, we're talking about dark horses, right? We're not talking about favorites.
Yeah,
We're talking about dark horses. So, Brooklyn Nets, they got deep. They got nine players deep, 25 minutes a game. Okay, they got Mikal Bridges. He's a baller. Got Spencer Dinwiddie, who's seemed to have turned his career around. He's really relishing what's happening in Brooklyn. They got a legitimate rim protector, legitimate rebounder in Nick Claxton. Okay, this is a team that's doing it the right way. I hate to say it, but they're doing it the right way. They shipped KD off. They get some nice pieces back that are really working for them. The fact of the matter is they haven't been able to win a playoff game in the last 2 years. That's a problem. But the fact of the matter is they shoot the three better than almost every team in the league. They get on the offense and defensive boards as good as any team in the league. Okay, so when you're looking at somebody that's going to make a dark horse kind of run, you play three, you hit your threes, you get on the boards, you got a rim protector, and you got a legit player in Mikal Bridges. I think the Brooklyn Nets may make some noise. I mean, ultimately, you're going to have to play one of the big three in the second round. Whether or not they can get a win, aside from four, that they haven't proven that last couple of years. But hey, I like that roster. I like how they've done it. Yeah, that's my pick.
I respect that. That was a real dark horse right there, yo. Answered the question properly.
I wanted to say the Pacers, but they're not a dark horse anymore. The Pacers are not a dark horse, so I went with a real dark horse.
No, I'm not mad at you at all, man. Kanai, who's your dark horse? Or Trey, you want to go first?
I honestly don't have one, but I would say probably like the Knicks, something like that. Like, maybe I think that there's a clear divide between the top teams in the league and even the bottom half of the playoff teams. I think the top teams are the top teams, and we're gonna see one of the top four in the East or West win it. And I don't really think that there's too much. Like, I don't think it's really that close. Like, if maybe the Knicks or the Knicks, OKC, or the Pelicans, like I would say a team like one of those.
See, I don't think like
OKC pick.
I know these teams are at the top of the conference, but like a Minnesota and an OKC.
I was
Like,
gonna say Minnesota and Sacramento, but like they're leading. Like they're not. Sacramento was second in the West last year, and Minnesota's first right now,
Yeah,
right?
you can be a dark horse if you're sitting top of the conference.
Yeah.
So, you go legitimate.
this is a team that's been in a spot, like Minnesota, for example. They've been in the A spot the last 2 years. Coming into the season, I don't think a lot of people expected them to do any real damage. We beat them in
like
the
a dark
first
horse at the beginning of the year, or talking about dark horse like in this moment, like from now on, right? Because
Yeah.
Minnesota would an amazing dark horse pick at the beginning of the year.
For sure.
Fair.
So when I made my pick, I was like, from this moment, who's that dark horse?
Fair.
OKC's a good pick. Like that's
Like,
a great. That's a
If
good.
we, from this moment, then we'd be able to say like a team that's in 10th, like Golden State. No,
But they're a dynasty, so how are they a dark horse, boys?
continues
No Draymond Green, guy. That makes them a real dark horse.
from this moment.
Kanai, who you got for a dark horse, man?
To be honest, like I'll take the Raptors as a dark horse.
No, you're not honest. You're not honest. Are you serious? I froze at when he said that. Yo.
What's wrong with that? To make the playoffs? That's what you said. To make the playoffs.
To make a deep playoff run.
I should have said the Grizzlies.
Oh, to make a deep playoff run?
Yeah.
To make a deep playoff run. I mean, like it's hard to say because I would like based on the numbers, I would say like the Heat. You know what I mean? The Heat or the Pacers, but the Heat were good last year, right? Like the Heat are just fucking around with the playoff time. They don't really care. I mean, from now, I don't know, man. The Clippers. Clippers is a dark horse. Fuck. If they're not healthy, then they're shitting the bed. But if they are, then I see them going to the finals. They've been shit for the last 2 years. So if we're gonna count teams like Minnesota and Golden State, I'll count the Clippers. Outside of that, yeah, maybe Minnesota. Don't know what to tell you, man. Make a deep playoff run is hard to say right now. I'm sorry.
I definitely feel you because I didn't add enough.
I thought you said yeah.
No. I was talking about a deep playoff run, but that's okay because I don't think I was clear with the question. I didn't add enough context around, so that we could all answer it accordingly. But that's okay. It was just open. Everyone answered it how they felt to answer it. I like the Heat as well, just because like Eric Spoelstra is kind of like this coach that I just like have an affinity for. Pause. But like,
they were the finals last year. They were the finals
but
last
the thing
year.
is, when you look at that roster, right, they shouldn't be doing anything. They have undrafted players all over the place. They have Jimmy Butler, who shows up in the playoffs. And right now,
they're the same people.
They're missing Max Strus. They're missing Gabe Vincent. They're missing some other players, some other pieces. But that's okay.
They got that Jaime Jaquez.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like him.
Nice.
All right,
super nice, bro.
I have another quick question for you guys. We're going to do this in a quick rapid fire before we close off with the last Raptors question. Quick rapid fire questions for you guys. I didn't give you the heads up on this because I just kind of thought of this now. So far, who is your MVP so far to start the season? I'm going to start, and I'm going to say Joel Embiid. Trey, who you got?
Ja Morant, because look at the Grizzlies since he hasn't been
Damn.
there.
That's a dope ass answer. That's dope, man. Love it. Phil, who's the MVP right now?
Giannis, man. It's always Giannis.
Can I?
Shit, yeah, I'm gonna go with Joel Embiid.
All right, cool. Rookie of the year, I'm gonna go with Chet Holmgren. Let's go the opposite way this time. Kanai, who you got?
Yeah, I'd have to go with Chet.
That means I can't go with Chet. I gotta go with somebody else.
That's how you feel.
Jaime Jaquez.
Yeah,
Jr.
Grady Dick.
You know what? I'm gonna go with Derek Lively. I like Derek.
Ah,
Lively.
okay.
In Dallas is big things. I like him.
It's
All right, Trey.
for me.
Who?
Wemby or Chet.
Oh,
Thank
Wemby.
God
Yeah,
someone said
we went
Wemby,
with
dog.
Wemby, but
How do we forget Wemby?
it's just because it's like the most
It's
blatant answer.
easy.
It's too easy.
No, it's him or Chet, and right now it's Chet.
It's Chet. It is Chet.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah,
just-
it
Right
is
now
Chet.
it's Chet. It's him or Chet. Only one of those 7-foot motherfuckers is winning that, and it's him or Chet and it's Chet. That's how nobody knows Wemby. Wemby's got to be
Yeah, I
better.
mean Chet's team is number 2 in the Western Conference, so you're probably right. Like that's just going to be a
Yeah.
W for him.
Hit in the NBA and not do
Yeah.
it, right.
Yeah, man. Finals teams. At the beginning of the year, I said the Bucks and the Suns. One of those teams looks a lot more likely than the other, but I'm gonna keep the same energy. So I'm gonna say Bucks and Suns. Phil, I'm gonna go to you.
We got the Celtics. You got to put the Celtics in there until someone proves us wrong. They got to keep going back. And man, you know what? I think OKC's just young enough and reckless enough that they might just get there. Go with
All right.
Celtics.
Trey.
Bucks and man, I got 3 teams.
Only one to go.
The refs.
Bucks. Yeah, really. I'd like to see Golden State in there, but I think it's gonna. I'd like to see Golden State or the Clips in there, but I think it's gonna be Denver.
All right. Can I?
Nope. Nobody said Memphis. So.
Raptors.
You're wildin', fam. No, dude's for real, dog. We know they're not
playing,
going.
dog. I'm playing. I'll take. I know it's the 76ers in Denver. I think 76ers. I think Nick Nurse is gonna get validation this year still.
All right, cool. So like we're gonna have another episode at some point. Probably we're gonna have like I'd like to like keep y'all on and do some like other episodes with the 4 of us, because I thought that this was very dope. Whenever we're able to do this again near the playoffs, we're gonna check in on those predictions and see how they're doing. Now let's close off the show with last question. It could be anything related to the Raptors. It could be playoffs, draft picks, roster, coach, front office. I'm kind of looking for like a hot take type prediction. Doesn't necessarily be like the hottest take in the world, like, oh, the Raptors are going to win a championship. Just something that you can predict that you think will come to fruition for the Raptors. So any thoughts? Who would like to go first on this one? Phil, what you got?
Can I do 2 just for fun? Can I do
For
2?
sure. Go for it, bro.
Scotty wins most improved player. I think without
Nice.
like that's got to be happening. And the second is we get a pick in the top 6.
Ooh, I like those ones.
I took mine.
I took yours.
I was
with the second one.
I was gonna say the second one was mine. I was gonna say unintentional. We were gonna tank.
My bad.
Not on purpose, but make it look pretty slick and end up with a top 5 pick. That was definitely my hot take.
I like that. Where I took 2. That's my bad.
All good.
All right. So do you have like a backup one, or are we just gonna roll with that one, Trey? Phil just
coach front office
handsy with the with the predictions.
Oh, bad.
And for this season, I think we just set ourselves up to get a really, really, like actually big name 2 guard for next year.
Ooh.
Okay.
So that's hopefully the purpose of our being shit is.
I hope.
All right. Kanai, what you got?
Sorry, is this just a Raptors prediction?
Yeah. Could be anything. Doesn't need to be anything specific.
Pascal just traded this year, and we're better off for it.
All right. And I'm going to go with the Raptors exploring a coaching change at the end of this season.
This man is
Greasy.
Yo,
I've been
brother,
saying
This.
I agree with you, though.
thank you.
I agree
Thank
with
you.
you.
Guys, seen enough of this already, guys. Done with the clown show, bro. Done with the clown show.
Word.
Respectfully.
Whoa. Yep.
But anyways, man, this was like damn near a 2-hour episode, but this was dope. as hell. Thank you all for coming up and showing out.
Sure.
Give it up for the Mandem, yo. Give it up for Kanai. Give it up for Trey. Give it up for Phil. Again, these are like my guys that I've known from time. I appreciate the fact that they came up today and blessed us with a wicked episode. And does anybody have anything like they want to plug or anything like that before we roll out of here?
Don't plug you, man. Hit that subscribe button. Give this
Yeah.
man the love he deserves. Let's go. Come on, enough.
Oh, subscribe, all that shit.
I like that.
I would like.
Yeah, man. So then that means I don't even need to do. I don't even need to do that. Y'all heard the man. Like, share, subscribe. We are available where podcasts are available. Unless there's some other platform I don't know, but we're mostly everywhere. But again, thank you if you tuned in to this, because this is a long, extended version of Raptors Flex. Plus, this one right here is the Raptors Flex Committee. I'm hoping that we can do more of these in the near future and get the man on to give their takes. So, yo, if you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. You know the flex. It's me and the man, and we out.
Sick.